Hello, I'm Gary Quinn, and welcome to another episode of Ready, Set, Live. My guest today is J Higgs, international medium, TV presenter, and Sunday Times best-selling author. Her TV and stage appearances in the UK include Colin Fry Live and the Psychic Private Eyes series, as well as her star power in live events. Her passion is bringing peace of mind and resolution to those grieving for their departed. TJ works worldwide, sharing her gift, bringing comfort, closure, and peace not only to those who receive her messages, but those in her audience who are touched by the love of spirit. Don't go away. I'll be right back with the dynamic TJ Higgs. Welcome to the show, TJ.
Thank you, Gary. It's such lovely to see you and lovely to be here. Thank you.
It's so brilliant because we've spent so much time together in Japan, and I always wanted to have you on the show, and I've been watching you, and I know you're in the UK doing a tour. You have a large tour coming up. Tell me about what inspired the tour. Well, let's talk about really how you really tuned into your gift as a child, and what was the catalyst that put you in touch with this?
Okay, so I like to say I'm like Lady Gaga. I was born this way, so I didn't really have a choice. And all throughout my childhood, my teenage years, I was married young. I just always could see or sense and feel not just spirit, but people's energy, which I understand now. And I didn't understand why everybody else couldn't do or see and feel how I was feeling. So it became quite difficult sometimes to interact with people. And it wasn't until I was sort of turned 29, 30, that I met someone that just opened my eyes to the fact that I was a medium, and seeing spirit, that's what it meant. And in England, back then, we're talking sort of 25, 30 years ago, people weren't as open about it as they are now. So it wasn't always a good thing to be like I am,
Was it also a situation where you saw colors, voices, or how was the vision? What was the strong sense at that beginning of the visions?
It was all of the above. When my pops died, I would have only been 3 years old. And I remember, and even now, I remember him sitting in his chair and then my uncle sitting on him. And I was sort of, being a disruptive child, I guess, to my Catholic mother, because I could see my pop still in the room. So, and that then translated to colours as I was getting older. And my dog, we had a Jack Russell, but when she was glowed blue, you don't touch her because she's moody. And but if she was green, you could play with her. And my stepbrother Colin used to play with her when she was blue, so she used to bite him. And I used to think, why do you touch the dog when the dog's blue? And she's grumpy. And when I wrote my book, Living with a Gift, we spoke about it. And he said, but the dog was always brown and white. She was a Jack Russell. So that he obviously couldn't see what I could see. And very quickly I learned to be quiet about things. And as you know, you've met me, Gary, I have quite strange eyes, as people say to me. I have weird eyes and all sorts. So growing up as a child, and even as a teenager, my eyes were not, some people loved them, but a lot of people were fearful of me.
Do you think, TJ, I know when someone loses a loved one, they have a hard time getting over of the grief of that. And I know you really tap into really healing that for them. What is the... do you feel that people are just looking for validation, or they're looking for a healing? How does it work for you as far as your job is there to just give them the message, correct?
Yeah, I think when I very first started, if you'd have asked me that question, I thought it was just about giving evidence and proof of life, that life continues. However, as I've worked over the last, I've been out on stage for 25 years now, and just recently, for example, I was working up in Manchester, and a lady came up to me at the end and said that she couldn't explain the message from her son, what it had meant to her, but all she could say to me was something had lifted, and her son had taken his life. And so when you think like that, that's a massive healing, isn't it? And not just for her, but for other people in my audience that can, maybe resonate with the messages from a child, from a mother, brother, etc. So I think now my work is predominantly healing. I would like to believe, not just evidence.
Yeah, I believe you're a healer, and I think that many churches and spiritualists accept this, but many Christian faiths do not. They basically think this is bad. But I think when you're providing healing, then it's a different way of validation for helping those people, feel better in this lifetime now.
Yeah. And at the same evening, actually, a lady came up to me at the end who was, almost like dragged along, if you like, by her friend. She didn't believe in the afterlife. She didn't believe in mediumship, very religious upbringing also. But she spoke to me at the end and she said, if you do nothing more, she said, you bring comfort and you bring, you do bring the healing. But her words were, you release pain. And that was from somebody that's a non-believer. And that again, to me, I don't go out to prove anything. I'm very lucky. I know, what the other side is like. But to just be told that I can do that for people, well, that's an honor in itself, isn't it? To be able to stand up for spirit and do that.
Yeah, exactly. Do you, Tracy, do a ritual in the morning? Do you do, a lot of people, they meditate, they exercise, they do a little bit of, journaling or walking with nature. Is there anything that you love to do?
I would say I would like to have time for those things, but most of my time is taken up with work. But I do advocate all those things for people that are, working spiritually. We do need to take time for ourselves. But I like nothing more than just in the morning, just to take a moment for myself and just have a little chat with my team, to ready myself for my work. If I am feeling overwhelmed by some of my work that I do, I'm very lucky. I live in the middle of nature here in England, so I will take myself off and just take the dogs for a walk and things like that. So quiet time, I think a lot of time meditation for me is quite difficult because I have a very fast brain, and to slow, I almost feel like I should be doing something else. So walking is, a mindful walk is much better for me than a meditation.
And here's the thing, we have to remember that we must take time for ourselves. So I'm here to remind you, you have to do some nice things for you. That means to go pamper yourself or take an afternoon off and do reflexology or get a massage or anything, because we're putting out such a high vibration of energy. If you're depleted, it takes a while to get your energy back.
Absolutely. And I think I'm almost coming to the end of a burnout, really, because during COVID, when everybody was locked down, whereas a lot of people got to spend time with their families and almost like in bubbles of peace, if you like, so I know it was an awful time. I know a lot of people passed, but there were the positives of family time and time together. But for me, and I guess you yourself, Gary, we are called then to take care of a lot of people. So I spent 2 years making sure that people had somebody, so the people that lived on their own could contact me. I did my radio show. I wrote a lot as well. That's quite therapeutic for me. But I was there for my students and just for spiritual people, all denominations, that needed me. So I think that took quite a toll on me that I didn't realise, just coming out of it in the last 2 years, really.
Yeah, I think we had a recharge in some way by not being able to go anywhere. But yet we were giving, because of the internet, which was
Yeah.
a blessing, we were
Yeah.
able to, speak to all these people and give our energy and our information. So I think that was a big blessing.
Absolutely.
And I know you have this tour that's happening all over the UK as we speak. What
Yes.
city are you? What number is it on? I think you're on number 4.
Yes, number 4. Yes. So I'm all over the UK, north, south, everywhere. So I decided I wasn't going to go back out on tour, and it took me a while to actually get my energy together to think, am I needed? Am I wanted? And I don't mean that in an egotistical way. So, but I am very, very lucky that I get to share my gift. And I just wanted people to understand that, my tour is called Grief is Love. And that's so true. And our late Queen actually said that, so I put that on my posters to remind people, because, to grieve for someone is that you've loved them. So I've been out already as I was just in Manchester. I've been in Essex. I've been in Hertfordshire. I've been in Kent. So so I have about another 20 or so shows this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I know I was watching where you're going to be speaking at the Mick Jagger Center, or what is it?
Yes, Mick Jagger Centre. Yes, that's very cool. Unfortunately, he won't be there, but I can wish. But yeah, that's a beautiful venue in Kent as well, in Dartford. So there's the places that I work. I've just worked in Stockport, which is in Manchester, in the most amazing theatre that also has its own guests. There's residents there. So a lot of the places I'm working do have their own residents, which is quite interesting as a medium.
When you go into a big venue like that, TJ, I know many spiritual people go backstage and do a whole meditation before they go on stage. Is that something you do, or you just go out and sort of feel the room?
Yeah, see, I know I'm sort of a bit odd, I guess, but I do not meditate before I work. If you were backstage with me before I'm going out to do a demonstration of mediumship, you'll find my dressing room is very loud. I've got music playing. I'm heightening my energy, because if I meditate, my energy goes, which is perfect. If you want to close your energy and almost like center yourself, my energy needs to be as big as it can possibly be when I go out to do my shows. So now you'll find me getting hyperactive backstage rather than less active. Yeah.
What has been the most interesting session that you had with a person where it kind of threw you a curve, or you were sort of shocked? Or was there anything that, I know there's always people in our privates that we have sessions that really throw us back, or give us some information. Was there anyone that ever happened to?
One that really stands out throughout my working life, if you like. I don't work with a crystal ball, but I love crystals. So I had a beautiful fluorite crystal ball. So for those of you that don't know, fluorite is greens and blues and purples, so it's not see-through. And I had it in mind this day to have the crystal ball beside me while I was working, just as something aesthetic, really, not to use. I read, as I was in the middle of reading for this beautiful lady, I was drawn to look at my ball, and I was being told to tell her she wasn't allowed to go somewhere. And I was trying to work out what was going on. And in the ball, it started to sort of move. And in the ball, there were turtles, and they were drowning. And I just said to her, wherever you're going, you cannot go, because if turtles are drowning in the sea, it's not safe for us, So anyway, she didn't tell me where she was going. She just said she was going to tell her husband. and they were going to go to their own holiday home at this was for a Christmas visit. And anyway, on Boxing Day, I received a phone call. My phone was off the hook from her husband calling me over and over again and telling me that I'd saved his family's life. He thought I was a bit crazy, did not want to listen, that they had to cancel their trip abroad for Christmas. But they would have been in the middle of Thailand for the tsunami that hit Phi Phi. And they would have been right in the middle of that. Not just those two, but 4 young children as well. So he could have lost his whole family if they'd have gone.
Wow, that's amazing.
I know. Isn't that crazy? That's you know, and even off the back of that, I was doing some television, and the producer was just sat next to me, lovely young woman. And I said to her, "You're going somewhere at Christmas, aren't you?" So she said, "I'm going." It was a honeymoon, but they weren't going to get married anymore. They were just going to go as friends. And I said, "Wherever that is, that's where I see the turtles drowning." And still, I didn't know where it was. And I just said, "Wherever that is, you mustn't go because, it's dangerous. You could die." And I said, "And I'm that convinced that you shouldn't go there. That this is how I have to present this information to you." And it turned out that her then ex-partner did still go and took a friend, and the ex-partner had his legs broken and one of his arms broken in the tsunami, and the young man that went along with him, his friend, didn't make it. He passed.
Wow. What does love mean to you?
Wow. I put a thing out on my socials the other day about love, and a lot of people were sort of saying, "Oh, I could do with some love," and thinking about it being, person to person. But for me, love is everything, and to have joy is love, family is love, isn't it? But also for me to have the connection. So personally, love for me is the connection that I have with people this side of life that I get to work with and know and meet, and also the visitors from the other side of life as well. So love for me is not just a personal thing. I think it's a soulful thing, very, very soulful for me.
I know there was an article that came out in the Evening Standard about that the British people are the most unhappiest people in the world. Is that true? I mean, I don't think so, but I think, a lot of Brits, maybe because it's the social system or the class system. I don't know. Have you come across that?
I think I can definitely say I've noticed, again, this is post lockdown, as we say here, that people are now falling into 2 categories. You've got the beautiful, lovely, enlightened people, and I don't mean they need to be completely enlightened, but just are aware, that have kind of gone back to the old ways of community and social, interaction. You've got those, and then you've got the others. And the others, to me, if I had to put them in colour, you've got the white, bright people, and then you've got the greys, because there are a lot of people in this country that are miserable and don't know how to get back into step, and don't want to be socializing, don't want to be interacting, don't want to be sharing either. So I think there are a lot of miserable people here.
Yeah, I remember years ago, one of my very first interviews in London, it was a BBC radio show. I think it was Simon Collin or Simon something. Anyway, it was the most negative interview. They were attacking me. There were 2 people, a professor from Manchester and something else. But I thought, wow, the people are so negative. What's going on? But then I agree. I guess people, but then I see a lot of negative people in different countries also.
Yeah, I think it is across the board, but UK especially, and you mentioned the BBC interviewing you. I myself would not get an interview on the BBC because of what I do for a living. So it's anything psychic, anything medium is no. They will not interview me, advertise me, not at all. So we still have, and not just the BBC, but we still have quite a block on us being able to be spiritual, which surely we've come past all that now,
Yeah. Talk to me about your new magazine that you've got that's premiering. What inspired you to do that?
Well, we had some really great magazines in the UK, and unfortunately, they've all they've been closing, and I've been very lucky to be represented in them over the years. And so I just thought we really need a magazine for people, written by us, rather than having a copywriter or just a regular journalist write stories about spirituality and all manners. I thought, no, I'm going to bring the experts, in, and we'll all write about what we know and what we experience every day, So, and I just put it out there to the universe, as you do. And I have an incredible team of people, and it's just expanding. So we offer for other spirit, if you're a spiritual person and you would like to contribute, we're not going to say no, So that was just the inspiration. So written for us, by us,
Brilliant. Is Spirit and Destiny still in?
No, that's gone. Yeah, that's what I mean. And that was a fantastic magazine. I used to have a column in that. I loved Spirit and Destiny. It was my favorite. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, here's one words I want you to answer.
Okay.
What does God mean to you?
Everything, all encompassing. Yes.
What do you usually like to do on a Sunday morning?
If I'm not working, you tell me off. I read. I love to read. Yeah.
If you could choose one actress to play the part of you in a film, who would it be?
Oh wow, I've never been asked this before. Who would it be? Wow.
You can think about it.
I know, it's like who would I have? Well, Patricia Arquette obviously did Medium, so that's the first lady that I would go to, because she was incredible when she did the TV show Medium. So maybe her. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, good. All right. So I know that you've got a full schedule coming up. So if people want to get in touch with you, they can go on your social media, or they can get you at your website and find out about your dynamic tour that's happening.
Yes.
And how would you like to leave a message for people who maybe are skeptical, or what would be your message to them to listen and really open their hearts and not be so judgmental about what you do? And
that's the only message I ever say to anyone that comes to my audience, particularly, when they're listening, it is just listen with an open heart, and I think sometimes people are so closed and frightened of what I can do and who I am and other people like myself. So it wouldn't hurt you just to sit for a moment and open your heart, because a lot of the times when you speak to these people that are skeptical or judgmental, they'll always say, oh, but actually I did have something happen to me when, and they like to tell you that story, so closed hearts and closed minds, we don't need those. We need open hearts and open minds for everybody in the world, not just for mediums, but that would make the world a better place, I think.
Exactly. Well, I thank you so much for spending this time with me, and I wish you great success, and I look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks in London. And thank you so much, Tracy. And the people can buy your books online. They can subscribe to your magazine at your website. And yes. I guarantee you will be full of joy when you connect to Tracy's website.
Thank you. Thank you, Gary. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Hi, I'm Gary Quinn, and thank you for joining me today on this special edition. Until next time, be well.